2-1 The 7th class pleases Yagyu Satoru. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The bright moon is in the sky, and the stars are dotted, the country of waves, Dasna's home, a forest border, as far as the eye can see, there are gorgeous seas of flowers, and there are precious medicinal materials that can only be seen here, in front of a small fire. Have you noticed that it's a very serious problem? Uzumaki Naruto sat cross-legged on the ground with his hands folded on his chest, with a fiery red palm print on his face, looking at Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke. What's the problem? Haruno Sakura looked up in confusion, and looked up at Uzumaki Naruto. She looked at the slap marks on Naruto's face and said angrily, I advise you not to play pranks. Just now Uzumaki Naruto pretended to be a ghost and ran to scare teacher Lu Xing, then teacher Lu Xing slapped him mercilessly and flew far away. The slap marks on Naruto's face have not dissipated until now. Should it be said that Naruto is bold, or too naive? How dare you play a prank on Yagyu Satoru? Our strength is too weak, and we didn't have a chance to show off throughout the whole process. Uzumaki Naruto said seriously, since that Tao Tao appeared on the ground, it's all teacher Lu Xing who is showing the limelight. Super idiot, what's in your head? He's the best man. Uchiha Sasuke crossed his hands on his chin and cast a cold glance at Uzumaki Naruto. He secretly thought in his heart, indeed, as the idiot Naruto said, the gap in strength is too great, and there is no chance to show it. It's normal. The three of us are all genin. How could we possibly survive against jonin-level enemies? Haruno Sakura said with a natural expression on his face. Grade A. Since the appearance of Goe Rentao di Zabujan, the task difficulty has been directly raised from C-level to A-level tasks. With the strength of their 7th class, how could it be possible to complete the A-level task? So it is normal to rely on teacher Lu Xing. If you want to show off rashly, you may be dealt with by the enemy in an instant. Uchiha Sasuke's face darkened, and he recalled the scene when he was so frightened that he couldn't move. TSK. Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth and smashed his mouth. A look of anger flashed in his eyes. The enemy who could frighten their 7th squad was easily repelled by teacher Lu Xing in 2 or 3 strokes. This gap in strength made him very angry, and he couldn't tolerate being weak. As the avenger of the Uchiha clan, he must gain enough power to kill Uchiha Itachi. How can we stabilize the status quo? Sasuke, you think so, too? Uzumaki Naruto nodded slightly, with an expression I understood. Although being protected by teacher Lu Xing, I feel very safe, but he also wants to become stronger than Sasuke, changed enough to stand in front of Yagyu Satoru and say, you're not hurt, coward. The 3 people in the 7th class have their own ideas. Haruno Sakura thinks the enemy is too strong and it is normal to be protected by Mr. Lu Xing, but Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke want to become stronger. At least he must become strong enough to be qualified to take action when fighting the enemy. There is no need to stand by and watch foolishly like today. Uzumaki Naruto stood up, punched his palm, and said with a warm smile, since we have decided to become stronger, let's start to act. Action. Little Sakura and Sasuke looked at Uzumaki Naruto suspiciously. Does this super idiot have any good plans? Pleasing Mr. Lu Xing to fight, and then asking him to teach us very powerful ninjutsu. Uzumaki Naruto beckoned. Sasuke and little Sakura leaned over suspiciously. The plan is. Uzumaki Naruto spoke of the plan. After hearing the plan, Sasuke and little Sakura were speechless. Sure enough, he is a super idiot, and the plans he came up with are all idiots. Can this successfully please Yagyu Satoru? After the 7th class discussed the plan, they immediately started to act. At this time, by the river, Yagyu Satoru is lying on the grass, with his legs crossed, reading Love to Heaven. Uchiha Sasuke walked up to Yagyu Satoru, clenched his hand into a fist and coughed twice. Ahem. Why, you want to read it too? Yagyu Satoru flipped the pages of the book and said casually, smelly brat with no hair yet, go play in the mud and don't disturb adults' time casually. Uchiha Sasuke took out a gift box of beautifully packaged candies, glanced to the side, and said coldly, eat, do you want candy? Candy from the land of waves. That it's all about gaining power, to beat This is Uzumaki Naruto's bad idea to bribe Lu Xing's favorite candy. Yagyu Satoru looked at Uchiha Sasuke indifferently. After staring for 3 seconds, Yagyu Satoru said speechlessly, "Are you that Tsundere girl from the last century? It's disgusting. The purpose of Uchiha Kid is to become stronger, right? Probably a bad idea from the Nine-Tails Kid. Teacher Lu Xing, let me squeeze your legs." Haruno Sakura knelt down beside Yagyu Satoru, forced a smile, and said in a flattering tone, "Without you, such a powerful ninja is here, our 7th today, I am afraid that Ban will be in danger." Haruno Sakura gently squeezed Yagyu Satoru's leg, and said to himself, "You are so powerful, it's not like we are only lagging behind, alas." She herself thought that her behavior was disgusting. Damn Naruto, what a bad idea. That's right, you little brats are really slowing down. Yagyu Satoru let out a breath, and said lightly, "Pinch your hands up." Haruno Sakura squeezed her 2 small hands upwards. "Up and up." Yagyu Satoru said. "Teacher Lu Xing, it's time for you to teach us too." Haruno Sakura moved up a little distance with her 2 small hands. Suddenly, Haruno Sakura froze. "Yeah." Haruno Sakura was startled, her face turned red, and she got up and ran away quickly. Little kid. Yagyu Satoru continued reading, "He can indeed teach now, but the problem is that the current 7th class cannot become stronger, except for Naruto, Sasuke and small Sakura's chakra amount, there is no way to enter the next stage, in the distance, in the grass." Successful? Uzumaki Naruto asked excitedly. "Bastard." Haruno Sakura blushed, rolled up her sleeves and punched Naruto hard. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto was punched and fell to the ground. He got up and covered the red envelope on his head, looking pitifully at Haruno Sakura. "Little Sakura-chan, why did you hit me? What a bad idea you came up with." Haruno Sakura glared at Uzumaki Naruto angrily. "Enough, I don't have time for you guys, 2 idiots messing around." Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets, turned around and was about to leave. "He wants to cultivate by himself. Leave it to me." Uzumaki Naruto slammed his fist into the palm of his hand, and said with a confident smile, "This is a move that can make Grandpa 3rd generation surrender." Hearing this, Uchiha Sasuke stopped walking. 3rd Hokage surrender. Could it be that this super idiot is hiding some powerful means? Under the puzzled eyes of Sasuke and little Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto walked towards Yagyu Satoru confidently. "Teacher Lu Xing, keep your eyes open." Uzumaki Naruto stood beside Yagyu Satoru, his face full of confidence. Multiple shadow clone technique. Uzumaki Naruto crossed his hands. Bang! White smoke rises, and several shadow clones appear out of thin air. Multiple harem technique. All the vortex Naruto put their hands together and formed a seal at the same time. Bang! The white smoke rises, and all Uzumaki Naruto become, a big sister with protruding front and back. They put on very coquettish poses, and wink at Yagyu Satoru together. In the grass in the distance, Sasuke and little Sakura's expressions darkened. They covered their faces and were in no mood to watch. This super idiot. I was so stupid that I believed that Naruto, the tail of the crane, could use very powerful means. Lu Xing, big brother. Uzumaki Naruto, who was all feminine, twisted his waist extremely charmingly, and he was secretly happy in his heart. He still remembers Yagyu Satoru now, who introduced himself at that time. "I like the big sister with lordosis and back curl, then take it. Grandpa 3rd Hokage will lose to this move. Men become 3 points less." Yagyu Satoru sat up, squeezed his chin and looked seriously at the feminine Uzumaki Naruto in front of him. Chakra formed -2 points. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand and squeezed, feminizing Uzumaki Naruto's bust. Yagyu Satoru shook his palm and smiled slightly, 5 points. Even if he saw Uzumaki Naruto, transformed into a big sister with a bulging front and back, he didn't feel the slightest disturbance in his heart. His 6-eyed passive ability can see through the root of all moves. What's more, if you know it's fake, how can you be interested? Authenticity is important. P.S. Readers, do you have any favorite characters? Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. To teach the 7th class Rasengan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Xing Big Brother, can you make him super powerful? The feminine Uzumaki Naruto put their arms around Yagyu Satoru's waist, using their tops to rub hard. Wow, it's good, it's so cool, keep rubbing hard. Yagyu Satoru's attitude was very perfunctory. After a slight pause, he grabbed the feminine hair of Uzumaki Naruto's real body and threw it into the river in front of him. All Uzumaki Naruto's shadow clone disappeared in a cloud of white smoke. Smelly brat, do you think I will say that? How can you know how to seduce a hairless kid? I thought you were rubbing my back. Yagyu Satoru smiled lightly, with a hint of sarcasm in his smile. It's just that old man from 3rd generation, who can hit such a low-end move. He is the most powerful man in Huakue Street. He has seen countless big scenes, so how could he be convinced by mere seduction? Uzumaki Naruto stood on the river, pointed at Yagyu Satoru in the distance, and shouted loudly, "Damn it, I will surprise you when I improve this trick." Well, good awareness. Yagyu Satoru nodded in satisfaction, and then glanced at Haruno Sakura who was hiding in the grass in the distance. Yagyu Satoru chuckled, but it's a pity, I'd rather grit my teeth and pet little Sakura's flat bear than a false humiliation. In the grass in the distance, Haruno Sakura was slightly stunned, a burst of anger ignited in his heart, his face was as red as an apple, and his eyes were full of embarrassment and anger. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Haruno Sakura rolled up his sleeves, ran towards Yagyu Satoru angrily, and punched Yagyu Satoru in the abdomen, gritting his teeth and swallowing his breath. Is the old lady's bear poisonous? Don't be angry, since you want to become stronger so much, let's move on to the next stage. Yagyu Satoru grabbed Haruno Sakura's wrist, and with a catch, the little Sakura was pinned to the ground. It hurts. Haruno Sakura pressed his face to the ground, feeling the pain in his wrist, and said angrily, "Is there a teacher like you?" After mocking the girl Ping Xiong, he also used grappling on the girl. Which teacher would do this? Probably just Yagyu Satoru. Uchiha Sasuke stepped out of the grass, with his hands in his pockets and a grim expression on his face, and asked, "What's the next stage?" "Great, we can finally proceed to the next stage." Uzumaki Naruto sat cross-legged on the ground like a good student, waiting for Yagyu Satoru to explain with an expectant expression. Before it was to control chakra, so now release chakra. Yagyu Satoru raised a finger, and a light blue chakra emerged from the fingertip. He had made the 7th class practice by sticking a finger to a tree. The purpose is to allow the 7th class to release chakra. Uzumaki Naruto tilted his head and asked with a bewildered expression, "Is there any point in releasing chakra?" Student Fox asked a good question. Yagyu Satoru picked up a stone the size of a palm. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto." Uzumaki Naruto shouted. Haruno Sakura pressed her face to the ground, feeling the weight of Yagyu Satoru, and said speechlessly, "Teacher Lu Xing, can you let me go first?" Sorry, forgot." Yagyu Satoru let go of Haruno Sakura. "I think you did it on purpose." Haruno Sakura patted the dust off his clothes, and gave Yagyu Satoru a vicious look. "Anyway, I'll just perform once, so keep your eyes open." Yagyu Satoru held the stone in his hand, and a light blue chakra emerged from his palm. It's meaningless to simply release chakra, but what if you compress chakra and make it spin at a very fast speed? The light blue chakra in the palm of Yagyu Satoru spins like a tornado. Bang! The palm-sized stone was shaken into dust by chakra. "Look!" Yagyu Satoru patted the dust off his palms. "Wow, that's amazing." Uzumaki Naruto looked excited, staring at Yagyu Satoru with little stars in his eyes. "You can still use chakra like this?" Haruno Sakura was slightly taken aback, she had never touched this aspect of knowledge before. "It's difficult to release chakra, and it's even more difficult to manipulate the released chakra. This trick is very difficult, right? Uchiha Sasuke used a hook Jade Sharingan, and looked at Yagyu Satoru coldly. He had just used a Gojo Sharingan and had been staring at Yagyu Satoru the whole time, but with his Sharingan, there is no way to see through, the way Yagyu Satoru just used chakra. Very high, this is Rasengan, the Muji Jutsu developed by 4th Hokage during his lifetime. Yagyu Satoru squeezed his chin, thought about it and said, the basic power is A level, but the difficulty of learning depends on the talent. His six-eyed passive ability can see through the root of all moves. One look at Rasengan at the time and he totally learned it, so it's hard to judge Rasengan's learning difficulty. Although the basic power is A level, it can be greatly changed according to the individual's chakra. For example, Yagyu Satoru raised his hand, and a light blue chakra emerged from his palm, and then he injected chakra of fire attribute. The pale blue Rasengan in his palm turned fiery red, fire-style Rasengan. After the attribute is injected, the power is enough to reach S rank. You can also adjust the size of the Rasengan according to the amount of chakra. Yagyu Satoru injects more chakra, and the fiery red Rasengan in the palm gradually becomes larger than a human. Convenient, isn't it? Yagyu Satoru shook the fiery red Rasengan. Everyone in the 7th class listened carefully. Basic Rasengan has no attributes, but after using shape change and nature transformation, it will be accompanied by attribute attacks. Yagyu Satoru disappeared out of thin air and appeared in front of a distant hill. Yagyu Satoru blasted the huge Rasengan onto the face of the hill. Boom! The earth trembled violently, and flames like a tornado engulfed several small rocky mountains. In just an instant, several small rocky mountains were reduced to ashes, and a relatively large pothole appeared on the ground. Hiss! The audience gasped, and everyone in Class 7 was dumbfounded. Even Sasuke, who had always been calm, had a bewildered expression at this moment. Everyone stared blankly at the destruction caused by Yagyu Satoru's blow. One move can destroy several hills, and even leave a relatively large pothole on the ground. Such a terrifying ninjutsu still exists. Yagyu Satoru's fire-styled Rasengan has completely refreshed the 3 views and cognitions of the 7th class. They used to throw away the shuriken, release the great fireball, and at most it was just a shadow clone, and they had never seen a big scene at all. All attributes can be injected into Rasengan. Of course, you little brats can't master these 2 changes now. Yagyu Satoru teleported to the front of everyone in the 7th class. Many Jonin can't do it. Learn this Rasengan. Start with the basics, release chakra, and manipulate chakra. Yagyu Satoru took out a bag of balloons and threw it in front of the 7th class. Fox Kid, blow up a balloon. Okay, Teacher Lu Sheng. Uzumaki Naruto saluted, took out a balloon and blew it. Everyone in the 7th class was respectful. Yagyu Satoru was speechless. These little kids changed their faces really fast. Teacher Lu Sheng, why are you blowing up the balloon? Uzumaki Naruto handed the blown balloon to Yagyu Satoru with a puzzled look on his face. Shut up, just watch. Yagyu Satoru took the balloon, a light blue chakra appeared in his palm, and then the balloon burst with a bang. Wait until you can release chakra and burst the balloon before proceeding to the next stage. Yagyu Satoru said disgustedly, learn slowly, don't bother me. Popping balloons with chakra is enough for the current 7th class kids to study for a long time. Not to mention the water polo and leather ball behind. Popping the balloon is the basic Chidori and the basic Rasengan. The initial stage of these 2 moves, the latter one is the shape change, and the other is nature transformation. After combining nature transformation with form change, it is the fire-style Rasengan he just used. Most Jonin can't do it. Combine quality and form. Haruno Sakura looked curious, raised her hand and asked, Teacher Lu Sheng. Excuse me, classmate Ping Xiong, Yagyu Satoru said. What do you mean by shape change and nature transformation? Haruno Sakura's attitude was very respectful. Even if he was called Flat Bear, he was not angry. Good question, don't ask next time. Thinking about running without learning to walk. Let's talk after finishing the current stage. Yagyu Satoru said. Just now, Haruno Sakura had an attitude that he must beat him, but now he has a respectful attitude. A little boy is a little boy, forget the pain if you have a little sweetness. Anyway, work hard. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand, turned and walked into the tent. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 2-3 Love is the most twisted curse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 days later, early morning, the white mist is vast and the sun is warm, in front of the big tent. Where's the enemy? There hasn't been a single fart in the past 2 days. Yagyu Satoru sat on the stone, brushing his teeth bored. Could it be that you are overwhelmed by my strength? Yagyu Satoru thought seriously. There was no movement for 2 days, which was indeed strange. Could it be that he was too strong, causing the enemy to run away with his ass between his legs? It is indeed possible. He is not narcissistic, because it has happened before, many things like the enemy running away. Today is also very handsome. Yagyu Satoru looked in the mirror after brushing his teeth, touched his face and smiled with satisfaction. Teacher Lu Sheng. Haruno Sakura walked up to Yagyu Satoru with his hands behind his back, smiling. Happy face early in the morning, do you have diarrhea? Yagyu Satoru let out a sigh, and looked at the smiling Haruno Sakura lightly. Teacher Lu Sheng, I'm a girl, can you stop being so rude? Haruno Sakura secretly clenched her fists. A word emerged on her forehead. Never mind, I will endure. Look. Haruno Sakura took out a balloon. A light blue chakra emerged from his palm. The balloon shook violently, and then twisted into a spiral. The pop balloon was popped by Haruno Sakura's chakra. Even Yagyu Satoru was surprised after seeing Haruno Sakura use chakra to pop the balloon. Nine Tails doesn't have it, and Sasuke doesn't have pink eye disease. On the contrary, the seemingly ordinary Haruno Sakura did it first. Yagyu Satoru patted Haruno Sakura's head. With a flash of admiration in his eyes, he said, well done, hard work might save the world. Haruno Sakura, the kid, doesn't have as much chakra as Naruto and Sasuke, but he can precisely control chakra. It's also a talent. Rasengan is a very convenient means of attack. Even if the amount of chakra is small, the most common Rasengan can be used, but the final stage of the common Rasengan, the morphological change, is difficult to learn. Otherwise Rasengan would have been rotten. So talent is very important, and if you want to use a more advanced Rasengan, you need a very large amount of chakra. Save the world. Haruno Sakura said speechlessly, Teacher Lu Sheng, can you be serious? Please teach me the next stage. Her current attack methods are all throwing away kunai, so she is looking forward to learning Rasengan. Impatient kid, tell Teacher Lu Sheng the most handsome, I will teach you the next stage. Yagyu Satoru said. Taking advantage of others, is there such a teacher? Haruno Sakura said angrily, although Teacher Lu Sheng is indeed handsome, it would be embarrassing to say it. Do you also want to become stronger? Say it from the bottom of your heart. Yagyu Satoru smiled slightly. Ms. Lu Sheng is the most handsome. Haruno Sakura blushed slightly, full of embarrassment in her heart. Well, see, you can do it with hard work. Yagyu Satoru nodded in satisfaction. You threatened me. Haruno Sakura said unhappily, please teach me the second stage. Try to explode it with chakra. Yagyu Satoru took out a palm-sized water polo and threw it to Haruno Sakura. Haruno Sakura caught the water polo suspiciously and tried to burst the water polo with chakra, but the water polo didn't move. Rotate, after compressing chakra, control chakra to rotate extremely fast. Yagyu Satoru said. It's so difficult. Haruno Sakura gritted her teeth, her fair face turned red due to excessive force. Even if she tried her best, the water polo would only shake at most. It is already very difficult to release chakra, but the chakra released is manipulated and rotated until the water balloon bursts. Super difficult. Haruno Sakura thought to herself. It's truly an A-level Muji Jutsu, and it's too difficult to learn. Work hard slowly, and remember to tell those two stinky brats about the second stage. Yagyu Satoru patted Haruno Sakura on the shoulder and walked towards the river in the distance. Time passed, everyone in the 7th class concentrates on training. Haruno Sakura is studying the second stage, while Naruto and Sasuke are still in the first stage. Both of them felt that they were surpassed by little Sakura, so they gritted their teeth and worked harder. Hurry up and be self-reliant, little kids. Yagyu Satoru lay on the grass by the river, glanced at the people in the 7th class in the distance, then let out a sigh and went back to sleep. After a few minutes, a very beautiful young man walked up to Yagyu Satoru. He had black hair, a bell around his neck, and a pale pink kimono for women, slender, but, it's men, the skin is very white, but, it's men, the whole person is cute and gentle, but, it's men, he is water without moon and white. Minazuka Shiro squatted on the grass, calmly looking at Yagyu Satoru's handsome face. Bloody ninja, Yagyu Satoru. Minazuka Shiro recalled the scene when he was fighting with Yagyu Satoru. His pretty fair face flushed slightly, and there was a trace of shame and anger in his eyes. He still remembers that trick 1,000 years of death. Minazuka Shiro slowly raised his hand and touched Yagyu Satoru's neck. Wouldn't Mr. Zabuchi be happy if he could get rid of Yagyu Satoru here? Minazuka Shiro bit his lip. He finally relented and took the Haori to cover Yagyu Satoru. It's a smart judgment, you almost died. Yagyu Satoru looked at Mizuna Munshiro faintly through the black sunglasses. I was gathering herbs in this mountain, and I saw you sleeping by the river. Minazuka Shiro smiled, elegant and cute, and she shook the basket in her hand. Be careful of catching a cold. Minazuka Shiro was indeed gathering herbs, and meeting Yagyu Satoru was a complete accident. Ice escape is a rare blood succession limit. Yagyu Satoru took out a lollipop, opened it and threw it into his mouth. Shuei Wuyubai was slightly taken aback, but did not panic, and asked with a light smile, how do you know it's me? Ass. Yagyu Satoru pointed at Minazuka Shiro's ass with a lollipop. Dirty. Minazuki blushed slightly, recalling the scene of 1,000 years of death, subconsciously clutching her ass, glaring at Yagyu Satoru angrily. Don't be so shy, I'm not interested in men. Yagyu Satoru chewed a lollipop, and said lightly, I can let you off for now, but you have to give priority to attacking my students when the war starts. Although this little puppet has the very rare ice escape blood inheritance boundary, she is very weak in his eyes. He can easily deal with Bai, but Bai's strength is very suitable, as an experience pack for the little kids in the 7th class, can promote the growth of the 7th class. Minazuki put her little hands together, tilted her head and smiled softly, okay. Death. Yagyu Satoru said. Death? Minazuki Shiro's mouth twitched slightly. Let him kill class 7, is this Yagyu Satoru really a teacher? Death. Yagyu Satoru repeated, the blood-wheeled eyes of the pink-eyed kid require extreme emotions to grow, just happens to be able to exercise too. Naruto and little Sakura's will, being a teacher is so troublesome. I have to let class 7 grow up to be self-reliant as soon as possible. Don't blame me then. Minazuka Shiro said. They will be fine with me. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand. I really admire you for being so calm, you can still chat and laugh with your enemies. Minazuki smiled softly. It's okay, you're weak. Yagyu Satoru said casually, he really didn't take Minazukishiba seriously. Do you have someone important? No matter what you give, the person you want to protect the most. Minazuka Shiro pushed her hair behind her ears, and the memory of Zabuzen when they first met appeared in her mind. Picture. In his eyes, not beheading is more important than his life. In order to protect important people, he is willing to be a tool without thinking. As long as he can stay by Zai Bujan's side, everything is worth it. Minazuki smiled and said, I have a very important person, for him I am willing to give everything. He will die. Yagyu Satoru said. When people protect important people, they will become very strong. Minazuki Shiro smiled lightly, with a hint of joy, and said, on a snowy day, he became my only salvation. Being treated as a tool by him, I will be very happy, even if I die. At that time, Minazuka Shiro was regarded as a monster by his parents and everyone, and many people wanted to burn him to death. Zabuza appeared when he was helpless and said he was valuable. He understands that not cutting again is using him, even if it is used as an attack, not cutting again is his only salvation. Love is the most twisted curse, you are hopeless. Yagyu Satoru bit the lollipop, the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and his smile was full of sarcasm. When you are willing to lay down your life for a person, the person is already hopeless. Living is the most basic wisdom. This little bastard by is willing to be a tool to sacrifice her life for the one she loves. This is already a twisted curse. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 2-4 blood succession boundary is more like a curse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My blood succession boundary is more like a curse. Mizuna Uebi smiled bitterly. If he didn't have Bingduin's blood succession boundary, how could he be hated by his parents, and how could he be regarded as a monster by the villagers? Yagyu Satoru didn't speak, but thought to himself, Uchiha Obito is to blame. The reason why Mist Ninja Village has a large number of ninjas hunting blood succession limit is because Uchiha Obito controlled 4th Mizukage at that time. He is the meaning of my existence and the only value of my life. He needs my strength, work for him, fight for him, and want to realize his dream. This is my dream. Shui Wuyu by the tone is serious and firm. When everyone hated his blood succession limit, it was Momoji Zabuza who stretched out his hand and said that he needed his strength. Even if it is used as a tool, it is still needed. Mizumizuka Shiro tilted his head, with a happy smile on his face, and said, now, because of him, I still like it a little bit, and I am regarded as the power of a monster. Just listen to it as your last words. Yagyu Satoru took out a lollipop, put it in his mouth and sipped it lightly. The experience of this little puppet boy is very similar to that of Naruto, but because of the people she met, she embarked on her own way of ninja. Mr. Yagyu Satoru, you eat too much candy. Minazuka Shiro complained. Teacher Lu Sheng, I have finished the first paragraph. Uzumaki Naruto took the balloon and walked towards Yagyu Satoru with a proud face. Uzumaki Naruto stared blankly at Minazuka Shiro, his face flushed slightly and subconsciously muttered, it's so cute, even cuter than little Sakura. The first time he saw Minazuka Shiro, he thought this girl was really cute. Stupid Naruto, what are you talking about? Haruno Sakura rolled up his sleeves, ran over and punched Uzumaki Naruto hard. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto was knocked to the ground with a single punch. Uzumaki Naruto got up, covered his head, pointed at Yagyu Satoru angrily, and shouted, Master Lu Sheng, bastard, we are practicing hard over there, and you are chatting with the beautiful sister here. Naruto, let's go back, don't disturb teacher Lu Sheng. Haruno Sakura glared at Uzumaki Naruto angrily, then grabbed Naruto's collar and apologized to Yagyu Satoru, I'm sorry teacher Lu Sheng, I'll take him back right away. Teacher Lu Sheng is dating, right? Stupid Naruto really has no eyesight, you have to look at the atmosphere before being stupid. Minazuki clenched her white hands into fists, put it on her mouth and smiled softly, I'm a boy. Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura froze. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Minazuki Shiro seriously with an expression of disbelief, black hair, slender figure, snow-white skin enough to be envied by many girls, there is also a delicate and cute face, even cuter than little Sakura, who would believe that this gender is male. Yagyu Satoru pointed at Minazuka Shiro's legs with a lollipop, and said flatly, smelly brat, don't be full of fantasies all day long, he has what you have. Yagyu Satoru. Minazuki blushed slightly, crossed her legs subconsciously, stared at Yagyu Satoru with shame and anger in her eyes, being pointed there by Yagyu Satoru. He is now embarrassed and shy. Is Yagyu Satoru really a teacher? Which teacher would educate students like this? Haruno Sakura looked at Minazuka Shiro, his mouth moved to say what he wanted to say, but stopped abruptly at the edge of his mouth. This blush, this gesture, no matter how you look at it, she looks like a girl who is being molested, and she Haruno Sakura is not as cute as a man. Very shocking. Can you stop being shy? It's disgusting. Yagyu Satoru waved his hand in disgust, and said, "Come on, don't bother me." Minazuka Shiro was also not angry. He got up and crossed his hands behind his back, and glanced at Yagyu Satoru with a sideways smile. "Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, let's make a break on the bridge." After speaking, Minazuka Shiro turned and left. Uzumaki Naruto stared blankly at Minazuka Shiro's back gradually going away. Man. Uzumaki Naruto knelt on the ground. He turned ashen as if he had lost his dream. 7 o'clock. The enemy now has a regular schedule. Yagyu Satoru sighed. He used to be a good young man who went to bed in the early morning and woke up at noon. Sakura-chan, you're actually cuter. Uzumaki Naruto rubbed his hands together and looked at Haruno Sakura with a flattering smile. Humph. Haruno Sakura snorted coldly, turned and walked to the distance to continue practicing. Naruto, the tail of the crane, actually named a boy who was cuter than her as a girl. Where should she put her face as a woman? Idiot Naruto's EQ is also worthy of chasing girls. In front of the girl I like, I said that a boy is cuter than the girl I like, and now the girl I like is angry. Yagyu Satoru looked at Uzumaki Naruto, who was ashen-faced, with a mocking expression on his face, covered his mouth and snickered, "Puff puff, it's so funny." Uzumaki Naruto hugged Yagyu Satoru's leg, crying, "Teacher Lu Sheng, will little Sakura hate me? Give me some advice." Yagyu Satoru squeezed his chin, pretending to be in a state of thinking, and said, "There should be no need to hate you." Uzumaki Naruto was about to smile when he heard Yagyu Satoru's next sentence. With a serious expression on his face, Yagyu Satoru looked down at Uzumaki Naruto below, and said, "Because of you, it's already very annoying." Yagyu Satoru smiled and said, "You are hopeless, use your left and right hands casually, and try your best to be a bachelor." Teacher Lu Sheng. Uzumaki Naruto hugged Yagyu Satoru's leg, crying with snot and tears, "For my pity's sake, can you tell me the trick about Rasengan?" Yagyu Satoru looked at Uzumaki Naruto indifferently. Is this what the Nine-Tails imps are for? Actually playing smart. Worth mentioning, there is indeed a knack for being a good fit, Nine-Tails imp alone. Practice with Shadow Clone. Yagyu Satoru picked up Uzumaki Naruto and threw the latter lightly to the place where Sasuke and little Sakura were in the distance. Don't ask me any nonsense, use your own brain to think, and be careful not to become an idiot in the future. Using Shadow Clone requires a lot of chakra, and using Shadow Clone to practice requires a huge amount of chakra. Using Shadow Clone to practice can improve the efficiency of cultivation. As for how many times it can be improved, it all depends on how many Shadow Clones can be maintained. This is the trick that only works for Uzumaki Naruto in the 7th class of 3. After the Nine-Tails Kid progresses, Sasuke should be in a hurry, right? Competition can speed up a person's growth. Yagyu Satoru looked indifferently, and Naruto, who was using Shadow Clone in the distance, was being used. There are several points that make people stronger, and two of them are competition and crisis. Yagyu Satoru compared his hand to a trumpet, and shouted softly, "Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the enemy will appear on the bridge. Don't be late, stinky brats." In the distance, Haruno Sakura said angrily, "Teacher Lu Sheng, you should tell yourself not to be late." She still remembers clearly that for the final assessment of Class 7, Teacher Lu Sheng was late for more than an hour. Uzumaki Naruto and the Shadow Clone echoed at the same time, that's right, Mr. Lu Sheng, you are a late king, you just have to be careful not to be late." "I'm in trouble, let's go back to the village and have a barbecue." Yagyu Satoru was speechless, put his hands together, and launched an unlimited long-distance teleportation. "Bastard, you are going to eat barbecue." Uzumaki Naruto rushed towards Yagyu Satoru like a fried hare, planning to eat barbecue with Yagyu Satoru. Shwa Yagyu Satoru disappeared out of thin air. Uzumaki Naruto jumped into the air, and landed heavily on the grass. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 25. The 7th Class Crisis, Yagyu Satoru appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early morning, the weather is cloudy and slightly cool. On the border of the Kingdom of Waves, there is a huge bridge lying across, and the bridge is only 2/3 completed. Pale mist covered the entire bridge. At this time, on the bridge, will the enemy really appear? Uzumaki Naruto was carrying a school bag. His clothes were covered with mud, and there was a lot of mud on his skin. He had been practicing yesterday. Idiot, think about it. The enemy's goal is Dasna, and we, as guards, will become the enemy's hindrance. Uchiha Sasuke put his hands in his pockets and said with a grim expression, so the enemy will prioritize us. Uzumaki Naruto gritted his teeth and said bravely, cut, shit, of course I know. Teacher Lu Sheng, I'm afraid I'm going to be late again. Haruno Sakura raised her wrist and glanced at the time on her watch. It was almost 7 o'clock. If Teacher Lu Sheng is late, then their 7th class needs to evacuate immediately. After all, with the strength of Class 7, he will definitely die after fighting against the Mist Ninja. It's just right that Lu Sheng is late. Uchiha Sasuke raised his chin, used a hook to Shurian, glanced coldly at Haruno Sakura, and said confidently, I will deal with all the enemies. After this period of training, he can clearly feel that he has become stronger now, although there is no way to use Rasengan, but the strength has been further improved. That's right, let's kill all the enemies and surprise Teacher Lu Sheng. Uzumaki Naruto punched his palm, and said with a warm smile, Sasuke, don't cry out of fright. Uchiha Sasuke said coldly, don't hold me back, the tail of the crane. An astonishing killing intent covered the audience. The pale mist became thicker and denser, and everyone in the 7th class was in the white mist, and they could barely see their fingers. Be careful, it has appeared. The 3 people in the 7th class jumped back, and the 3 pulled out kunai at the same time, forming a swastika formation back to back. The fog is gone. Momochi Zabuza appeared on top of the 3 of the 7th squad, and used kunaiza to Sasuke's neck. Uchiha Sasuke's heart trembled, and the Scarlet One Goose Jade Sharingan glanced around, then suddenly raised his head to look up. Up there, so fast. Uchiha Sasuke turned around, blocking his body with kunai. The crisp collision sound resounded throughout the audience, and Uchiha Sasuke was sent flying far away and landed heavily on the ground. Is this the strength of Jonin? Such heavy strength. Uchiha Sasuke got up and glanced at the trembling and numb hands. Just blocking a blow makes his arm go numb. This brat reacts quickly. Is it because of the pair of Sharingan? Momochi glanced again, and Uchiha Sasuke in the distance stared at his pair of Sharingan. Sharingan, blood succession limit, but with the imp using the Sharingan, there's nothing to worry about. Holding kunai in his hand, Momochi cut towards Uzumaki Naruto's neck. Every move of his is to attack the vital points, achieving the effect of killing with one blow. This is assassination. Sasuke. Startled, Haruno Sakura and Uzumaki Naruto suddenly looked at Sasuke in the distance. They couldn't react just now, and Sasuke was blown away by a blow. Idiot, watch your back. Uchiha Sasuke ran quickly. Behind? The whirlpool. Naruto shrank his pupils, turned around suddenly, and saw the infinitely approaching kunai. He didn't even notice the presence of someone behind him just now. Naruto. Haruno Sakura's complexion changed slightly, and a look of panic flashed in her eyes, but with her speed, she had no time to block Momochi's attack. It would be nice if they could detect the attack in advance, but when they are attacked, it is too late. Uzumaki Naruto wanted to use the kunai to resist, but his hands were shaking because of fear, and the kunai slid to the ground. For the first time, he felt the threat of infinitely approaching death. A cold light flashed past, and kunai quickly slashed towards Naruto's neck. In the blink of an eye, Uchiha Sasuke saw that when Uzumaki Naruto was facing the crisis of death, his pupils shrank suddenly, and one Goju Sharingan turned into 2 Goju. Go away. Uchiha Sasuke pushed Naruto away violently. His hands were pierced by kunai. Scarlet blood rolled down the skin. Super idiot, now is the time. Uchiha Sasuke grabbed Momochi's wrist. Sasuke. Uzumaki Naruto and Haruno Sakura shrank their pupils, and they reacted in a moment, using kunai Jean to Momoji no more. This brat. Momochi Zabuzen's face darkened, and he wanted to withdraw his hand, but Sasuke grabbed it tightly. Two cold rays of light flashed across, and kunai penetrated into Tao Di Zai Bujan's abdomen. Wow! Tao Di didn't bleed anymore, instead it turned into a puddle of water and fell on the ground. Avatar, that everyone in the 7th class was slightly taken aback. They risked their lives just now, and the person who barely managed to solve it turned out to be the doppelganger. Who? Uchiha Sasuke felt the pain in his palm and frowned, cursing angrily, "Are you idiots? You didn't even respond to the enemy's appearance. Sasuke, why did you save me?" Uzumaki Naruto asked in a daze. He has always been regarded as an idiot by Sasuke, has always been the tail of the crane in the 7th class, and is against Sasuke everywhere. That's how he is. Why would Sasuke risk it for him? I once lost everything, so. Uchiha Sasuke swayed slightly and fell to the ground. He didn't finish his sentence, and the image of the night of genocide appeared in his mind. The screen changed, turned into a scene of 3 people from the 7th class, messing around with Yagyu Satoru. Yes, why should I save Naruto, the super idiot? Sasuke, I'll stop the bleeding. Haruno Sakura knelt on the ground, took out gauze from the backpack, and bandaged Sasuke. You were able to defeat my clone. You are indeed much stronger than before, but you are still just 3 trash. A deep voice sounded. OM. The terrifying killing intent once again covered the audience. The emotional scenes you performed made me want to vomit. Ninjas don't need emotions. Momochi Zabuzen walked out of the fog, looking down at the 3 of the 7th class with a mocking expression. What a terrifying murderous aura, that the faces of the 3 in the 7th class changed slightly. They thought they had become stronger, but after the first battle, they realized that the strength gap with the mist ninja was too great. Reluctantly can solve a doppelganger, and teacher Lu Xing was able to easily suppress such a strong enemy. It's outrageous. Is the bloody ninja not here? It just so happens that I will kill you first, you 3 useless genins. Momochi Zabuzen clenched his fists, and his bones creaked. If you dare to attack my companions, I will kill you. Uzumaki Naruto raised his hand to block Sasuke and Sakura, staring at Momochi with anger. His eyes had turned into pale golden fox eyes. He likes class 7 a lot and also likes Yagyu Satoru a lot. It was the 7th class that made him understand the meaning of the word friend for the first time. Sasuke's act of saving him is acknowledging his existence, so he will be like Sasuke, for those who recognize him. Bet your life. Without the bloody ninja, what use are you little brats? Momochi said with a sneer. Besides, I've already won. Those 2 elite killers should have already dealt with Dazna. The real purpose of Momochi Zabuzen is to hold back everyone in the 7th class, and then secretly send 2 killers to deal with Dazna. As long as Dazna dies, he can get a huge sum of money, and then use this money to make a comeback. Ninjas are a tool to kill people, and emotions are a burden to ninjas. It doesn't make any sense for you little brats to stage emotional dramas. Momochi jumped forward and attacked everyone in the 7th class at an extremely fast speed. Multiple shadow clone technique. Uzumaki Naruto made a mudra with both hands. Bang, white smoke rises, and more than a dozen shadow clones appear out of thin air. All shadow clone pulled out kunai, and besieged Sanctity without cutting. Shadow clone. Although it's a troublesome move, your strength is too weak. Momochi Zabuchi held kunai in his hand, and a shadow clone was swept away with one kick. Bang! Uzumaki Naruto was kicked flying and hit the tree trunk heavily, spit out a piece of scarlet blood from his mouth. Multiple shadow clone technique. Uzumaki Naruto immediately got up, and once again formed a mudra with both hands, creating more than a dozen shadow clones. Naruto, you'll die if you go on like this. Haruno Sakura exclaimed. You all agree with my existence and rescue me from the lonely hell. You are my important partners. Uzumaki Naruto wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, turned his head sideways to Sasuke and little Sakura, and gave a thumbs up, showing a trace of sunny smile. Don't worry, I will protect you all. If I can't even protect my companions, then what qualifications do I have to say what is my dream of being a Hokage? More than a dozen Uzumaki Naruto pulled out their kunai and attacked the peach field again. This super idiot. Uchiha Sasuke stood up with difficulty. If you move, you will die. A pleasant voice sounded. Minato Tsushiro was wearing a mask, holding 1,000 books in her white hands, and resting them on the necks of Sasuke and little Sakura. When did this guy appear? Uchiha Sasuke felt the sharp touch on his neck, and his spine felt a chill. He didn't even notice the aura of Shuei Wuyubai. Shuei Wuyubai tilted her head, smiled slightly, and said, "It's always been here." This voice seems to have been heard somewhere. Haruno Sakura was slightly taken aback. The skin on the neck was pierced by the sharp Chimoto, and a drop of scarlet blood flowed out. Momochi no longer chops his hands and uses the fog to disappear out of thin air, appearing behind Uzumaki Naruto. "Are you mommy? We just need to get rid of you." Momochi then stabbed Uzumaki Naruto's neck with kunai. Fast. Uzumaki Naruto's pupils shrank. Seeing this, Haruno Sakura cried with eyes closed, "Teacher Lu Sheng." Shwa Yagyu Satoru appeared out of nowhere, and slapped Momochi Zabucho's face with a slap. The crisp sound of resounded throughout the audience. Taudizai Bujan was thrown out, his body spun several times in the air, and then landed heavily on the ground. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, a chapter of 3,000 characters. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 26. Shiro who can hashtag 039, T-move, and those who want to retreat will not be cut. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Teacher Lu Sheng. Everyone in Class 7 was overjoyed. Seeing Yagyu Satoru appearing out of nowhere, they felt for the first time that Yagyu Satoru's back is so tall. Mizumizuki exclaimed worriedly, "Mr. Don't kill." Just at the moment when the water is dark and the moon is white, the attention is distracted. Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together, activated no lower limit and disappeared out of thin air. And Sasuke and little Sakura who were taken as hostages also disappeared at the same time. The 3 of the 7th class appeared in the distance together. Yagyu Satoru appeared behind Minazuka. What a fast speed! Shuei Wuyuebai's delicate body trembled, and she reacted instantly, quickly forming a seal with one hand, just when she was about to turn around. Ice escape. Little bitch, you're too slow. Yagyu Satoru raised his foot and kicked Minazuka ass. Minazuka was kicked down, and lay heavily on the ground. The attack is unpretentious, but effective. It's okay, brats. Yagyu Satoru put his hands in his pockets, held a lollipop in his mouth, stepped on Minazuka buttocks, looked sideways at the people in the 7th class in the distance. Good, so strong. Everyone in the 7th squad was stunned, looking at Yagyu Satoru blankly. The enemy who could drive them to a dead end was actually defeated by Yagyu Satoru 2 or 3 times. The arrogant Uchiha Sasuke was stunned at this moment, and a look of disbelief flashed in his eyes. Just now, Teacher Lu Sheng's speed was very fast, so fast that he couldn't catch it even with 2 hooks of the Sharingan. Its speed. It's more like teleportation. After Uzumaki Naruto reacted, he stood up and pointed at Yagyu Satoru, and shouted angrily, "Bastard, what a fool you are. If you are 1 step behind, we will all be wiped out." Although he was just now, he has been using Shadow Clone to show off, but it is completely meaningless, and he was slapped by the enemy one by one. Everyone in the 7th class thought they had become stronger before, but it was really when they fought against the fog ninjas and the strange ice escape ninjas. Only then did I truly realize what it is to be strong. Class 7 is still too weak. Have you said it confidently before? I want to kill all the enemies. Yagyu Satoru raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and looked at everyone in the 7th class with a slightly mocking smile. He was there all the time just now, and he also heard Sasuke and Naruto confidently say that they will eliminate all enemies. These stinky little bastards are gone. Full of confidence, he said that he would kill all the enemies, and then he was beaten and called Teacher Lu Sheng to save me. Yagyu Satoru covered his mouth and sneered, the strength of his feet slightly increased, and said, "Puff, puppet, little puppet, it's funny, right?" Bang! As Yagyu Satoru's strength increased, cracks appeared on the bridge deck, and Minazukabai sank into the ground. Haruno Sakura blushed slightly, and said angrily, "I didn't call for help." Embarrassment appeared in Uchiha Sasuke's eyes, his face flushed slightly, and he turned his head to the side and snorted coldly, "Humph." He was really confident before, but he was cornered by the enemy, and then he was laughed at by Teacher Lu Sheng. "It's really embarrassing." Uzumaki Naruto bit the bullet and said, "Teacher Lu Sheng, if you hadn't appeared, I would have defeated them long ago. Seeing that you are so energetic, I am relieved." Yagyu Satoru smiled with satisfaction. The brats did a great job, especially the mood change of the Nine-Tails kid. Sasuke also opened her Gyuyu Sharingan. As for Haruno Sakura, SOSO. Mr. Lu Sheng, you are really strong. The corner of Shuei Muyubai's mouth was bleeding, and there were cracks in his mask. Even though his whole body was in severe pain, he did not make a sound. It was as if a seal had been imposed on him now, and he couldn't even move his fingers. "Are you a puppet? You don't even move when it hurts." Yagyu Satoru stepped on his feet again, and the heavy repulsion without a lower limit suppressed Minazuka Shiro's whole body. "I'm a tool," Minazukabai said. "His whole body really hurts now, but it hurts even more when he was abandoned." "Don't cut it and keep telling him, he is just a tool. There is no need to have any feelings, and there is no need to have any emotions, just a tool to complete the task. He wants to be needed by Zabuzen, and he wants to give everything for Zabuzen. This is his ninja way." "Twisted guy," Yagyu Satoru said lightly. "He has no heart, even the concept of life has been abandoned." Momochi got up in embarrassment, with scarlet blood flowing from his red and swollen face, staring at Yagyu Satoru coldly. "There is no more perfect tool than white. So, take your feet away from my tool." Momochi Zabuza picked up kunai and jumped towards Yagyu Satoru. "Don't put on such a scary expression, although we are enemies, let's get along well." Yagyu Satoru raised a finger, and the sharp kunai stopped in front of his finger as if standing still. "If you have time to mess around, you should be more worried about Datsuna." Momochi didn't cut another hand, and pulled out kunai to cut at Yagyu Satoru's neck. The cold light flashed past, and kunai stopped in front of Yagyu Satoru again. It's okay, don't worry, these two wastes have been dealt with long ago." Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together and launched the power of no limit. Shwa! Two black-clothed ninjas appeared out of nowhere. Their bodies were dripping with scarlet blood, and their necks were bent in strange arcs. He had guessed before that these guys planned to take advantage of the situation. Solved. Momochi Zabuzen was slightly taken aback, seeing that the two dead men in black on the ground were indeed the ninjas he had sent out earlier, that is. The plan failed, although it is easy to deal with the three little devils in the 7th class, but Yagyu Satoru, the blood ninja, the blood succession limit is too weird. None of his own attacks could pass through the invisible force covering Yagyu Satoru's whole body, and before Yagyu Satoru, the Mujiwara style used was outrageous. Continuing the stalemate with Yagyu Satoru is almost certain to die. His quest target is Dasna. Since he failed to take advantage of it, there is no need to continue fighting with Yagyu Satoru. Retreat. "Shiro, when are you going to lie down?" Momochi jumped back without cutting, distanced himself from Yagyu Satoru, and glanced at Mizuna Munshiro, who was stepped on by Yagyu Satoru. "Retreat. I'm sorry, please abandon me." Minazuki Shiro bit his lips lightly. He can't move now, he is completely a burden, not qualified to be a perfect tool. Tao Zi frowned again, and said in a deep voice, "What nonsense are you talking about? Use your ability to get out of there immediately." Baitsong didn't move a moment ago. What's going on? Look at this person, how disgusting. Yagyu Satoru put his hand on his mouth as if whispering with a disgusted expression on his face, "I am obviously too strong to cause you to fail, but I still blame you. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down." This chapter is revised. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 27. Ice escape secret technique, magic mirror ice crystal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You can clearly kill by, but why didn't you do it? Don't tell me you're soft-hearted. Taudi didn't cut off his hands, and the pale mist once again covered the whole venue, almost reaching the point where it's hard to see his fingers. He clearly understood that no matter what means he used, he couldn't win the bloody ninja in front of him. There is a big gap in strength between Yagyu Satoru and Yagyu Satoru. The most important thing he should do now is to run away with all his strength, but he didn't. He didn't understand it himself. There was a huge gap in strength, but why didn't he run away alone? He didn't understand it, but at least he knew that if he ran away now, he would lose something very important. It's starting to release fog again. I'm an adult and I still like to play peekaboo. Yagyu Satoru fanned the fog with his hands, and looked at the fog ninjas in the distance. The ghost man could obviously escape, but then he hid in the dark, preparing his forces quietly. The ghost man knew the difference in strength, but he didn't decide to run away. Yagyu Satoru glanced at Mirazukishiki at his feet, because of this little hypocrite. Putting the fog up should be a plan to take the 7th squad as a hostage, right? Boring behavior. Yagyu Satoru looked sideways at everyone in the 7th class, put his hand to his mouth and shouted softly, "Smelly brats, he wants to take you as hostages." As soon as this remark came out, everyone in the 7th class was slightly stunned, and then immediately took out kunai, back to back with vigilance, forming a swastika formation. Tao Dizabuzen was lurking in the mist. He frowned slightly, and cursed inwardly. Yagyu Satoru, a guy with a playful smile, was able to discover his purpose first. He did intend to take the 7th squad as a hostage. Then switch back to white, the perfect tool. Holding kunai in his hand, Uzumaki Naruto said confidently, "Teacher Lu Sheng, there is no problem on our side, let's take care of the enemy boldly." No problem? That's not necessarily the case. Tao Di Zabu Zhan quietly appeared among the people in the 7th class, maintaining the knot seal with one hand, and holding kunai with the other. The fog is gone. The faces of the people in the 7th class changed drastically, and there was a hint of panic in their eyes. Why can the mist ninja appear quietly between their swastika formations? Two big idiots. Uchiha Sasuke was the first to respond, and the Scarlet Urgoyu Sharingan froze, holding kunai's neck that turned around and slashed at Momochi. Get rid of one first, and the remaining two are enough for the hostages. Momochi Zabuchi grabbed Sasuke's wrist, and then kunai thrust into his neck. Fast. Uchiha Sasuke's pupils shrank. So fast, is this the strength of Jonin? In an instant, Yagyu Satoru launched an unlimited teleportation and disappeared, kicking the peach to the ground without cutting it. Bang! Tao Di was kicked out again. His body rolled in the air a few times, knocked down several big trees, and then fell heavily to the ground. Yagyu Satoru held a lollipop in his mouth, looked at Class 7 with his hands in his pockets, and smiled slightly. There's no need to be afraid, I told you I'm invincible. Uchiha Sasuke breathed a sigh of relief, and said coldly, I can solve it myself. Which era of Tsundere are you? It's disgusting. Yagyu Satoru said speechlessly, why are these stinky brats more arrogant than the other? Ice escape secret art magic mirror ice crystal. For a moment, Minazuka Shiro formed a mudra with one hand, and burst out a chakra that contained an astonishingly cold air. Shwa the pale mist solidified, and more than a dozen ice mirrors appeared out of thin air, covering the 7th squad and Yagyu Satoru like a fortress, forming an extremely cold barrier. Who? Mizunazuka Shiro dived into the ice mirror. The mask had completely disappeared, the corners of his mouth were bruised and he was breathing heavily. His eyes glowed with a hint of anger, staring at Yagyu Satoru. Can you please don't hurt my most important person? Otherwise I'll be a real ninja here to kill you. That he never thought of hurting Class 7, these ninjas who had the same dream as him. At that time, Uzumaki Naruto, standing up to protect the 7th class, really touched him. In order to protect important people, he became extremely strong. It looks like him, but he can abandon the kindness in his heart for important people, become a real tool named ninja. It's a very interesting move. Yagyu Satoru ignored Minazuka Shiro, but tapped the ice mirror with his hand. and he could see through it at a glance. The mystery inside the ice mirror, formed in chakra, several times harder than steel, can use chakra inside the mirror for ultra-fast movement. The reason why he didn't deal with Bai immediately was to use Bai to train the 7th class. If you want to solve it, you can do it anytime. Uzumaki Naruto was slightly taken aback, pointed at Minazuka Shiro, and exclaimed, "You are the big sister, big brother who was dating teacher Lu Xing from before. I was just wondering why the voice was so familiar." Haruno Sakura held kunai in his hand and stared at Minazutsushishi vigilantly. Everyone in the 7th class was full of doubts. The cute boy who dated Yagyu Satoru before turned out to be a mysterious man wearing a mask. If this is the case, why didn't teacher Lu Xing solve the problem of Shuei Wuyu Bai before? He has what you have, how can I date a man? Yagyu Satoru pointed at Minazuka Shiro's legs with a lollipop. "Mr. Lu Xing, did you hear me?" Minazuki blushed slightly, glaring at Yagyu Satoru in embarrassment. It was rare for him to threaten someone just now, but Yagyu Satoru didn't take it seriously. Embarrassing, all right. Don't make noise, I heard you." Yagyu Satoru waved his hand. "He intends to change Mist Ninja Village, and I will protect his dream. From now on, I will take action seriously." Minadatsushishi formed a single hand seal, and his figure appeared in the ice crystal mirror of the entire magic mirror. "Cut, you stinky fart." Uzumaki Naruto smacked his mouth, then pushed the forehead protector, and said with a confident smile, "Come on, Mr. Lu Xing, teach him a lesson." Haruno Sakura was in the ice crystal of the magic mirror, and she was very flustered, but when she thought of teacher Lu Xing by her side, all the worries in her heart disappeared. As long as teacher Lu Xing is around, all enemies will be fine. With his hands in his pockets, Uchiha Sasuke stared at Yagyu Satoru with Yagyu Sharingan with a grim expression on his face. He wants to observe closely Yagyu Satoru's fighting style, and then imitate it through Sharingan. Because Yagyu Satoru is by his side, all 3 members of Class 7 have no sense of crisis now. Children keep acting like a baby, but they will be hated by adults. Yagyu Satoru pushed the 3 of the 7th class forward and smiled slightly. "Work hard, and I will cheer you on." That the 3 of the 7th class were stunned. "No one can leave the magic mirror, Mr. Lu Xing, you will be attacked by me together with them." The voice of Mizune Uebai resounded from all directions, and all the figures in the magic mirror took out a few sharp 1,000 copies at the same time. "Little bitch, I'll deal with the ghost first, and I'll leave it to you here, remember to kill me." Yagyu Satoru clasped his hands together, activated his infinite power, and disappeared completely out of thin air. "Bastard, you really left." Uzumaki Naruto said angrily, "What the hell did you hand over to the enemy?" "We are your teammates." That he just retaliated against Mr. Lu Xing, just joking, but never expected that Yagyu Satoru actually left. What's more, let the enemy die. Is there such a thing as a teacher? Teacher Lu Xing, you probably intend to take this opportunity to exercise our strength? Haruno Sakura said. Uzumaki Naruto asked strangely, "Little Sakura, since when did you help teacher Lu Xing?" Uchiha Sasuke said grimly, "Don't discuss meaningless issues, just beat him." "Are you able to leave the magic mirror?" Minazuka Shiro was slightly taken aback. He was surprised that Yagyu Satoru could teleport away, because the magic mirror ice crystal is formed by chakra. It is equivalent to a barrier that can isolate the outside world, able to completely block the blink technique. But why Yagyu Satoru can use the instant body to leave? Could it be that the time and space instant body in the rumors is used? Fire style great fireball technique. Uchiha Sasuke made a madra with both hands, and spit out a high-temperature flame from his mouth. The flame flew out and turned into a fireball, blasting toward several magic mirror ice crystals. After he has been trained by Yagyu Satoru, he has fewer seals to use great fireball, and the power is much greater than before. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for evaluation tickets, ask for monthly tickets, kneel down. Modify overnight until morning. Celebrate the 7-day long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 28, Die for the Ideal. Madness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two sides in the magic mirror ice crystal are at war. Although Minazukabai is fighting with the 7th squad, he is not in the 7th squad at all. While blocking the 7th squad, Minazuka Shiro was wary of Yagyu Satoru outside the magic mirror, and at the same time was still looking for opportunities to escape here with Zabuzen. At this time, the magic mirror was outside the ice crystal. The development is going very well. Yagyu Satoru took out a lollipop, unpacked it, threw it into his mouth and sipped it lightly, using the long-distance perspective of his 6 eyes to watch the battle in the ice crystal of the magic mirror. With the current comprehensive strength of the 7th class, it is as difficult as heaven to defeat the little puppet, but this little puppet girl is very innocent and kind, and before using moves that would kill the enemy, she would hesitate for a moment. Yagyu Satoru is taking advantage of the fact that the little puppet can't kill people, so he uses it as an experience pack for the 7th class. There is no more suitable enemy for experience packs than this. Yagyu Satoru, since you have such great power, why are you willing to be a team leader? Momochi Zabuchi got up, with scarlet blood flowing all over his body, 2 bones in his abdomen were broken, and he stared coldly into the distance. Yagyu Satoru it is difficult to understand with his cognition, since Yagyu Satoru has such a powerful strength, why is he willing to be mediocre? He has always been eager to gain power and wants to change the One-in village known as the Blood Mist Village. He hated the tyranny of One-in village, wanted to change One-in village, and even initiated a rebellion once, but ended in complete failure. With the power of Yagyu Satoru. Because of Katsuna. Yagyu Satoru squeezed his chin, pretending to be thinking seriously. He was once known as the Bloody Ninja, and he has slashed countless enemies. As long as he is the target of the mission, no matter if it is a man, woman, old man, or child, all are treated equally. Now he just wants to be ordinary and live an ordinary life of salted fish, save the world. Make trouble everywhere. None of my business. Xiao Gang. Tao Di Zabuzen's face darkened. Who is Xiao Gang? Yagyu Satoru answered his question without being head-on, completely irrelevant. Put down the butcher's knife for the woman you love. You probably can't understand. What does this mean? Yagyu Satoru looked down at the peach ground lightly, and there was a hint of sarcasm in the corner of his slightly raised mouth. After all, you are a tool called a ninja. After Terumi May came to power, Mist Ninja Village has been separated from the Blood Mist Village. What do you want to change now? It's your weakness that once failed. Yagyu Satoru smiled slightly, with a hint of sarcasm. Shut up. Taudi, who was always calm, showed a hint of anger in his eyes. He knew that the current Mist Ninja Village had changed. After 5th Mizukichi Terumi May took office, he changed the tyranny in the Blood Mist Village of One-in village. Yagyu Satoru sipped the lollipop, and said lightly, you can't forget this weakness, because it is the only motivation to support you and live now. Or, you hate the Kiri Ninja Village that once raised you into a ghost and abandoned Minazuka Shiro. For my beloved woman, man, I want to take revenge on Mist Ninja Village. If I were Shiro, I would be so moved that I would cry. The sword of the previous dynasty beheaded the officials of the current dynasty, and he vented his hatred in his heart to others. He is a naive and willful brat. Yagyu Satoru said. Shut up, shut up. Tao Di Zabuzen looked ugly, put his hands together, a mist disappeared out of thin air, and fell into the pale mist. The pale mist solidified, and Tao Di Zanbujan quietly appeared behind Yagyu Satoru. So what about Yagyu Satoru's blood successor limit? Any move must have a weakness. A cold light flashed across, and the sharp kunai slashed towards Yagyu Satoru's neck. Don't get excited, it's pointless to waste energy, let's chat. Yagyu Satoru didn't move, and through the passive energy of his 6 eyes, he could clearly see that the sharp kunai approached infinitely. The sharp kunai cut to the front and back of Yagyu Satoru's skin, and stopped as if still, as if blocked by an invisible wall. There has never been a record in the book of Shinobi that you have such a weird blood succession limit. Momochi didn't fail with a single blow, and made a seal with one hand, preparing to fall into the mist. It's rare for me to see such an honest ninja like you. Yagyu Satoru put his hands in his pockets, took a sip of the lollipop, turned around and kicked Momochi's head hard. With a heavy bang kick, Tao's skull creaked, and his whole body was kicked out. After spinning several times in the air, he smashed heavily on a stone pillar, and his body was completely sunk into the stone pillar. Cough, cough, cough. Tao Di Bujan coughed violently, and every time he coughed, he would spit out a large amount of blood. Now his consciousness is blurred, and his brain is buzzing. Yagyu Satoru didn't seal just now, that is to say, this kid's blood succession boundary can be instantly activated without seal. Such an outrageous ability still exists. Yagyu Satoru is a monster. Yagyu Satoru disappeared in a teleport, and appeared in front of Momochi Zabuzen. He stepped on the void, and his whole body was suspended in the sky. This is one of the abilities of no lower limit, pulling the power of no lower limit down to reality, so as to be able to stand in the sky. You can fly. Momochi was stunned for a moment, then looked at Yagyu Satoru in disbelief. There is actually a blood successor limit that can fly in the sky. After his battle with Yagyu Satoru, his three views and cognition were completely refreshed. The strength displayed by Yagyu Satoru is beyond the comprehension of ninjas. There's no need to look for my weaknesses. Yagyu Satoru chuckled, I forgot to tell you, I'm on automatic defense 24 hours a day. His power without lower limit is always turned on automatically, and can be accurately distinguished through Yagyu Satoru's own judgment, harmful and harmless. This is why Yagyu Satoru dared to call himself invincible, because apart from the poison and illusion, all attacks can't hurt him even the slightest. Surprisingly, such a weird ability exists. Tao Dabuzen's expression turned ugly. If it is true, as Yagyu Satoru said, the weird invisible defense is an automatic defense 24 hours a day, in other words, any attack is meaningless. Completely wasted effort. You like Minazukabai, don't you? Yagyu Satoru asked. What stupid things are you talking about? Momochi's face darkened. He never thought that Yagyu Satoru would say this suddenly. Don't be shy, Tsundere. Yagyu Satoru pointed at Taudi Zabuchu's chest with a lollipop, and said with a very 8 trigrams attitude, say, you like that little bastard by. Tao Di Fujian didn't answer directly, but said in a deep voice, since I've been defeated, you can kill or cut as you like, don't ask such stupid questions. Your heart is beating faster. Yagyu Satoru covered his mouth and snickered, puff puff puff, you obviously like it to death, but you still have an arrogant attitude, so funny. Teacher Lu Xing asked about the time. You could run away, why didn't you? Yagyu Satoru said. You haven't experienced grief, how could you understand my dream? Tao Di Zabu Zhan said in a low voice. As a ninja, I have ideals that I want to fulfill even if I die. For the first time, he met such an outrageous enemy like Yagyu Satoru. After defeating him, he didn't deal with him immediately, but instead asked 8 trigrams. These questions were like torture him. Stop pretending, you're so Tsundere. The Tsundere persona is outdated a long time ago. Yagyu Satoru said lightly, in your heart, there is nothing like the moon, and you have already lived up to your name, right? Give up, you're on the wrong track. It's good that you and the little puppet live in peace. Although he is a man, he still has a hole to use. Yagyu Satoru joked, the words are full of sarcasm, but this is a final warning. I'm only fighting for my ideals, and I won't waver in the slightest. Tao Di remained firm, no one could shake his ideals, even if you die for it, it doesn't matter. Yagyu Satoru watched the battle in the ice crystal of the magic mirror through the passive 6 eyes. This brat Naruto can use 9 tails chakra by himself, although the amount is small, at least it has grown. Now that Squad 7 has gained experience points, it's time to deal with the enemies. He has had enough too. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. ChūNin at hashtag 039, snowing, bye. Are you crying? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Your love is too distorted. Yagyu Satoru's smile disappeared, and with an indifferent and cold expression on his face, he kicked Momochi's abdomen hard. Bang! Tao Di Zai Bujan was kicked flying, and landed heavily on the bridge, creating a huge pothole. As a teacher, I would like to give you a final piece of advice. The premise of a ninja is that you are a human being. The most basic intelligence of a human being is to work hard to survive. You ignore death, it's hopeless. Yagyu Satoru landed on the bridge, and a light blue chakra emerged from the palm of his hand. There was a trace of electric current in the chakra, resounding like thunder, Raikiri. That's it, Ghost Man. Yagyu Satoru leaped forward, a blue electric light flashed past, holding the heart that Raikiri stabbed. Momochi would never cut again. Just this breath, an ice mirror appeared out of thin air, and Mizunatashi blocked Yagyu Satoru's attack. His displacement speed was so fast that it was already comparable to time and space. It's stupid to die for a human being. Without pausing, Yagyu Satoru pierced Minazuka Shiro's heart with Raikiri. The speed at which the little puppet erupts is astonishing. She probably didn't use her full strength when fighting the 7th squad, right? After all, this little hypocrite is too kind. Pfft. Scarlet blood sprayed out, and ice emerged from Mizunazuka Shiro's chest, freezing Yagyu Satoru's wrist. Bye. Tao Di no longer shrank his pupils, looking at the dead Bai in front of him. He was completely stunned. He never ordered Bai to give up his life to block the attack. Thank you. For picking me up on a snowy day. The corner of Minazuki's mouth was bleeding, and he used the last chakra to freeze Yagyu Satoru's hand, and there was still a faint chuckle on his face after death. He is a tool, and he is willing to die for important people. He regards his life as more important than himself. Momochi bowed his head again, his black hair covered his eyes, making it impossible to see his expression clearly. As a ninja cultivated by Mist Ninja Village, he has experienced countless killings since he was a child, and even killed many friends. He believes that ninjas have no feelings, and ninjas are tools, but, the moment he died in vain, he felt pain for the first time in his heart. Momochi Fukaku didn't say anything, picked up the samurai sword formed from the ice on the ground, and slashed towards Yagyu Satoru together with Minazuka Shiro's petite body. Before Shuemu Uebai was about to die, he was still thinking about Tao Di's death. A light blue cold light flashed past, and when the blade was about to slash on Minazuka Shiro's shoulder, Momochi paused, and then stabbed Yagyu Satoru's head in a stabbing manner. The heart is disturbed, the knife is slow. The love that cannot be conveyed, do you regret it? Yagyu Satoru raised a finger, and the sharp ice blade stopped in front of his finger as if still. I didn't cherish when I was alive, do you regret it? Because of powerless ideals, the most important people died in battle, do you regret it? Yagyu Satoru asked 3 questions lightly. He had warned the 2 of them before. Living is the most basic wisdom. After the magic mirror ice crystal was removed, everyone in the 7th class ran to Yagyu Satoru, and everyone was slightly taken aback when they saw the dead Mizunata Sushiro. When they first fought, Minazuka told them about his dream. Everything that protects important people is Minazuka Shiro's ninja way. Don't ask me such a stupid question. A ninja is a tool without emotion. What I want is Shiro's ability. Momochi Zabuza said in a low voice, because no one could see his expression because he lowered his head, dragging his seriously injured body. He wobbled towards Yagyu Satoru. Do you really think so? Uzumaki Naruto was slightly taken aback. With anger in his eyes, he said angrily, that guy really likes you. His way of ninja is to fulfill your dream, and he would even die for you. He respects Minazuka Shiro very much, even though they are enemies. However, in order to protect important people, Minazuka steadfastly carried out the way of ninja, which touched Uzumaki Naruto's heart very much. It's really ruthless. Haruno Sakura was also a little angry. He wants to become as powerful as you, but, can he only get this kind of result? Uzumaki Naruto asked loudly with tears in his eyes, don't you care about him at all? He is very angry now. Minazuka died in battle to protect important people, but he failed to get the approval of important people. You little devils who have never experienced darkness, how can you understand nothing? Taudi didn't cut off her eyes and shed tears. All the thoughts in her heart burst out in one breath. Thinking cannot be conveyed to the dead, and your end is also death. Yagyu Satoru pulled out his hand from Minazuka Shiro's heart, and looked down at Momochi indifferently. Stupid as hell, only after the death of important people can we recognize ourselves. Let's do it, let me stay with Bai Si. Tao Dizai Bujan said in a deep voice. He had no thought of running away, nor did he think of continuing to fight, because the heart is dead. It's very enlightening, bear with it, it hurts. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand that pierced Bai, and a light blue chakra appeared in the palm again, and there was a trace of electric current in the chakra. Uzumaki Naruto wanted to step forward to stop Yagyu Satoru. Uchiha Sasuke raised his hand and stood in front of Uzumaki Naruto. With a heavy heart, everyone in the 7th squad watched Yagyu Satoru's attack. Pfft. The light blue electric light flashed past, and Yagyu Satoru pierced through it with one hand. Momochi never cut his heart again. Tao Di fell to the ground again, looking at Bai in front of him with a vague sense of consciousness. Farewell. Bai. Thank you all the way. I'm sorry. Momochi Zabuzen said weakly. Before he died, he faced up to the feelings in his heart, but his thoughts could no longer be conveyed to Shuemu Yuebai, like the question asked by Yagyu Satoru, do you regret it? Regretful, thousands of miles of cloudy days, pale snow falling. Snow. Yagyu Satoru raised his head and looked at the snowflakes in the sky. It can suddenly snow, the weather will really make the atmosphere. Bai, are you crying? The snowflakes fell on Taudi Zaibuzen's face, turned into a drop of water and rolled down like tears, and he slowly closed his eyes. Uzumaki Naruto clenched his fists and said unwillingly, I can't even see my own dreams, and as a result, I can only die as a tool. Ninja is really cruel. There is no hatred, but one must die because of the mission. This is a ninja. Yagyu Satoru covered them with his coat, and Minazuki's faces paled. If you want to protect, try to become stronger, brats. Yagyu Satoru took out a lollipop, unpacked it, and threw it into his mouth, with the blood sticking to the ground. Uzumaki Naruto clenched his fist and said firmly, I swear here, from now on, I will firmly implement my way of ninja. Minazuka Shiro's forbearance touched him. Everyone in the 7th class has their own ideas in their hearts. Except for Uchiha Sasuke, it is the first time they have seen this kind of love between life and death. Yagyu Satoru gave a thumbs up, pretending to be a compliment and said, Fox kid, be a mouth ninja, you will be very strong. Asshole. Uzumaki Naruto was about to retort. These two idiots are finally dead. A mocking voice sounded. A group of people with weapons stood at the head of the bridge, headed by a short, fat middle-aged man wearing a black suit, sunglasses and a cigar in his mouth, with a mad look on his face. And the person who spoke was this short, fat middle-aged man, the richest businessman in the land of waves, Kato. You guys can get out, this bridge must be destroyed, and all the money in the kingdom of waves belongs to me. Kato took a puff on his cigar, exhaled a cloud of pale smoke, and pointed the cigar at Yagyu Satoru in the distance. The corpses of these two wastes belong to us. Kato said in an orderly tone. The reason why he dared to be so crazy was because there were regulations among the villages. The people of Konoha Shinobi Village couldn't take action against him, a rich man in the land of waves, otherwise, the rules will be violated. Kato glared viciously, and the dead Shuei Yuebai said angrily, damn brat, you dare to hurt me. He had been broken by Mizunazuki before, and his arm was broken. I won't allow you to insult them. Uzumaki Naruto glared at Kato and his party. Tsang. Yagyu Satoru raised his hand, and a black substance emerged from his fingertips, leaping out like a small black hole, leaving a huge crack on the ground where it passed. Booming, everyone in the distance was engulfed by a small black hole. Thick black smoke rose slowly, and everyone's bones were gone. It's so noisy, how old you are and still so lively. Yagyu Satoru glanced lightly at the area destroyed by Tsang in the distance. Rule. He always does what he wants. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down, kneel down, kneel down, and say important things 3 times. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th. 30. On the eve of the ChūNin exam, Orochimaru #039, S plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the land of fire, in a dark cave, the faint flame of the candle faintly illuminates the dark room. There are many instruments in the room, there are a lot of writing notes, and there are many cell-like creatures floating in a large glass fiber reinforced plastic. A man stood in front of the instrument. He had black hair and was wearing a long black and white coat with a purple knot tied around his waist. His skin was pale and colorless, and his face was enchanting and evil, said to be a man, more like a neutral person. He is legendary, Orochimaru, one of the Sannin. A genius scientist, Yakushi Kabuto walked into the room, knelt on the ground and respectfully said, Master Orochimaru, the San Shinobi Village executives have agreed to invade Konoha Shinobi Village. Really, you did well. Orochimaru stopped the experiment, licked the corner of his mouth with his long tongue, and said hoarsely with a wicked smile on his face, hee hee. Teacher Sarutobi, I am looking forward to meeting you again. He replaced 4th Kazekage of San Shinobi Village, and secretly used the power of the entire San Shinobi Village, preparing to attack Konoha Shinobi Village. Previously, the executives of San Shinobi Village refused to start a war, but in the end, oppressed by Orochimaru, the disguised 4th Kazekage, he could only grit his teeth and agree to start a war. Yakushi Kabuto respectfully said, the upper echelons of San Shinobi Village can only agree, because you are now the 4th Kazekage. Master Orochimaru, with all due respect. Yakushi Kabuto's mirror reflected, pushing his eyes and smiling, something seems to be missing from your perfect plan. Orochimaru continued the experiment and asked, tell me. He trusts Yakushi Kabuto a lot. Yagyu Satoru. Yakushi Kabuto said. After hearing this name, Orochimaru paused in the experiment, and there was a hint of greed in his eyes. The adopted son of Tsunade. Orochimaru has seen many blood successors, but Yagyu Satoru's ability is the most perfect power in his opinion. Sharingan is more valuable than Uchiha clan's blood successor limit. Being able to ignore all attacks is the most perfect absolute defense in the true sense. Orochimaru has always wanted, Yagyu Satoru's cells, to breed a second ninja with the same ability as Yagyu Satoru, but Yagyu Satoru was never injured, so Orochimaru never had a chance to get Yagyu Satoru's blood and cells. He wants Yagyu Satoru, and he also wants Sharingan. Yagyu Satoru is currently the lead teacher of the 7th class. The members of the 7th class include Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Haruno Sakura. Yakushi Kabuto took out the information book, looked at the content on it, and said respectfully. Uchiha's orphan, and the container of the demon fox, both of them are his students. Yagyu Satoru has the most perfect ability. If he can become my container, I can defeat Uchiha Itachi's power, get everything I want, and get the blood succession limit. Orochimaru's pale golden eyes, with a trace of burning sensation. But the presence of Yagyu Satoru in the village will hinder our plans. To destroy Konoha now, 2 prerequisites are required. Orochimaru said hoarsely. Master Orochimaru, please speak. Yakushi Kabuto said. He could vaguely guess in his heart what the 2 premises Orochimaru said were. 1. Stop Yagyu Satoru from moving. Orochimaru raised one finger, then raised a second finger, and said hoarsely, 2. Stop Yagyu Satoru for 5 minutes. Yagyu Satoru has always had his way, and it's not sure if he will guard the village, Orochimaru said. He has met Yagyu Satoru many times and knows that Yagyu Satoru's character is very freewheeling. If Yagyu Satoru intervenes when fighting 3rd Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, it will directly lead to the failure of his Orochimaru's plan. Because Yagyu Satoru is strong enough. Master Orochimaru, there should be a 3rd premise. Yakushi Kabuto raised the corner of his mouth slightly, showing a dangerous smile. Orochimaru asked with interest, do you have any good plans? Of course there is. Princess Tsunade is one of the Sannin legends with you. Yakushi Kabuto smiled dangerously and said, it is rumored that Yagyu Satoru loves Tsunade very much. If we can capture Tsunade, we should be able to threaten Yagyu Satoru. Capturing Tsunade as a threat should keep Yagyu Satoru in check. You're courting death. Orochimaru's face changed slightly, he looked at Yakushi Kabuto coldly, and said in a deep voice, I warn you, you can shoot anyone, but don't touch Tsunade. Behind Tsunade is Yagyu Satoru. If this man goes crazy, no one can stop him. Orochimaru has seen Yagyu Satoru's power, so knows the man well. Don't look at Yagyu Satoru's playful face, but if he is really angry, almost no one can stop him. If the dragon has reverse scales, then Tsunade is Yagyu Satoru's reverse scales. As long as Tsunade doesn't move, everything is fine. Don't move Tsunade, the plan is still carried out. Use Kimimaro and Guren to block Yagyu Satoru. Orochimaru continued to start the experiment. Yes, Lord Orochimaru. Yakushi Kabuto said respectfully, the sun is scorching, and the sky is sunny, the land of fire, Konoha Shinobi Village. In the most advanced barbecue restaurant, many special jonin and elite jonin are all in one place, eating barbecue and chatting. Shikamaru and the others are excellent, and it's time for them to take the ChūNin exam. Sarutobi Asuma took out a cigarette, and when he was about to light a cigarette, he saw the no smoking sign hanging on the wall, so he put the cigarette back into his pocket. Sarutobi Asuma looked at Kurini Yuhi who was sitting opposite, and asked, Red, your 10th class is also very good, have you signed up for them? Hesitating, they just became genin not long ago, and it's too early to take the ChūNin exam. Yuihong pinched her white chin, thinking seriously. She feels that class 10 is a big problem, especially Hyuga Hinata, although Hyuga Hinata has the strength to take the ChūNin exam, but the character is too weak. For ninjas, weak personality is a big problem, so Yuihong plans to hone the 10th class, but in fact, taking the ChūNin exam can be regarded as a way of training, but I was afraid that after failure, these little guys would be hit hard, so Yuihong was a little hesitant. Woo! Lu Sheng, are you signing up for class 7? Shihong looked at Yagyu Satoru beside her with a gentle smile on her face. She knew that Yagyu Satoru and Jonin would definitely be late for the dinner party, so she was late on purpose this time, a little later than Yagyu Satoru. Then, as the last one to arrive, I naturally sat next to Yagyu Satoru. Of course you sign up, my students will win. Yagyu Satoru picked up sugar and sprinkled sugar on the premium beef on the grill. 2 weeks have passed since the battle with Minazuka Shiro, and Class 7 is almost finishing Rasengan. Yagyu Satoru was surprised by the rapid progress. In particular, Haruno Sakura is more detailed than Sasuke and Naruto in controlling chakra. Let our students sweat as much as they want. Might Guy gave a thumbs up, with a sunny smile on his face, and even a glint of white teeth. Well, that's right. Yagyu Satoru also gave a thumbs up, with a perfunctory attitude. Oh, let's work hard together. I remembered the picture of us running in the sunset before. Might Guy put his hips on his hips and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Yagyu Satoru ignored Might Guy, looked at Yuhi Hong with a faint smile and said, Little Hong, help me get the candy. He hadn't run with Might Guy, and his thick eyebrows were a total fabrication. Okay. Shihong responded subconsciously, and it was this subconscious response that made everyone in the audience slightly startled. Because of this sentence, good, very cute, everyone in the audience looked at Shihong in a daze. Is this still the usual heroic and strong woman? Lu Sheng, you eat too much sugar. Yuihong said, but still handed the sugar bowl to Yagyu Satoru. Sugar is the only romance. Yagyu Satoru took the sugar bowl, sprinkled sugar into the barbecue, and then looked at Yuihong's bust with a serious face. A man's romance is humiliation and sugar. The corners of Yuihong's eyes moved slightly, but she didn't have any words to catch up with what Yagyu Satoru said now. There is no way to complain. Take a look, when your bear grows older, you should be able to understand that sweets are wonderful. Yagyu Satoru picked up a piece of meat and put it on Yuihong's dinner plate. You're saying such things, I'm angry. Shihong took a bite of meat, her bright red eyes showed a hint of shyness. Shihong ate the meat with a sullen head and said softly, it's very sweet. It is indeed sweet, a pun. Everyone in the audience was stunned, then moved like a machine, turned their heads sideways, and looked at Sarutobi Asuma. Sarutobi Asuma's face turned black. Asuma is out of play. I'm going out to smoke a cigarette. Sarutobi Asuma forced a smile, holding a pack of cigarettes, got up and walked outside the barbecue shop. Need a cigarette to calm down. Lu Sheng, my students will definitely win. Might Guy said firmly, he works harder than everyone else. He is a genius who works hard. Hard work will never betray him. Yagyu Satoru raised his head, looked at Might Guy lightly, and said, I will look forward to it. That if hard work is useful, what do you need blood for? But hard work is the only way out for civilian ninjas. Yagyu Satoru believes that there is no fairness in the world. Some people are working hard to become stronger, while others are hysterically wanting power, and he, Yagyu Satoru, was born invincible, certainly. Hard work still pays off. P.S. Ask for flowers, ask for monthly tickets, ask for evaluation tickets, kneel down. I wrote a 3,000-word chapter overnight. Please ask for data. Celebrate the 7-day-long holiday of National Day and enjoy reading books. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity time, October 1st to October 7th.